Welcome to the Shuffle Curious podcast. I'm your host, Patty Lynch. Have you ever seen an amazing shuffler at a show or festival and wondered, how did they get started? How did they develop their skills? And who are they beyond the dance floor? Well, that's exactly what we're exploring in the show. We'll dive into the personal experiences of the dancers that make up our beloved community. We'll be learning more about who they are and what makes this dance so special to them. So, with that, let's jump into the show and let's get curious together. Hello to the Shuffle Curious community out there. This is episode 14 of the Shuffle Curious podcast. And in this episode, I had the pleasure of speaking with my friend Trent. And it was such a fun conversation with him. You know, Trent is one of my best friends out here in Denver. And I just respect him as a dancer, as a friend, and just as a man. He, is a really upstanding person and with great character. So it was an honor to be able to talk to him and to dig deeper into his story. And it was very cool to hear about, his origins. He started as a bass head and slowly started leaning into more shuffleable music, such as house and whatnot. And, he's really built a support system and a friend group and a family around this dance. The Mile Shufflers he paid homage to, in our interview. And they really have been just that for him, a family, because he's not from Colorado originally. And, one of the things that I really appreciate about our conversation was, how vulnerable Trent was about some of the dark times during his shuffle journey. He injured himself and kind of went through a little bit of a depressive episode there. And he just describes kind of what he was going through, maybe what he could have done better during that time, but how he became a better person because of all of it, and is more grateful for his body and the ability to move. So it's very encouraging to hear about, whether you've already been injured, maybe you have an injury right now, or maybe to prepare yourself for an injury, because it happens to the best of us. So without further ado, I'd like to get to the conversation. I think you guys will really get a lot of value out of this. I know that I did. So this is my conversation with Trent McFadden. I hope you guys enjoy. Trent, how are you, buddy?
I'm fantastic. How are you, man?
I'm doing excellent. This has been fun. Like, we've been, you came over probably like an hour and a half ago,
Yeah.
And we were going to kick this interview, within 30 minutes or so. It's I usually try and give, when the guests come, give a little bit of time to just settle in, kind of BS a little bit. I'm just checking everything, making sure it's good. But typically it's within like 20 to 30 minutes that we kick this off. But we were having some audio issues. Our good friend Toph got home a little bit early from his job, so we wanted to make sure that he got taken care of and got some grub, and we
had a wonderful talk.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
It was almost for the best. Like, you took the dog out, all that stuff. No, it was a lot of fun, and I think it's even primed us for a better conversation. So. And you're one of the homies that we can just do that with. Like, you're just super laid back about all that stuff. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But I'm really excited to have you on the show. You've been one of the people who really invited me into this Denver scene when I initially got here. And I can throw that back to when I first met you. It was the first MHS meetup that I'd ever attended, and it was August of 2021. And I just remember the energy of that meetup, and there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people there, and it was a lot of fun. But I remember you specifically because you were so inviting and welcoming, towards me. And then there might have been some other people who were also just new faces, but it seemed like you had met all of them with that same kind of energy, and you might be like a little bit fuzzy on it because I know, like, for me it was like my first time being there, so it was a very salient intense like type of interaction, because like trying to dance well, you know what I mean, like I almost felt like I had something to like prove a little bit. Like, it was that at that stage of my journey where it's still like perhaps a little bit insecure about my dancing. And a lot of people, like you being one of them and the rest of the crew, kind of helped extinguish that. We're all just vibing and whatnot. But I have a video from that meetup. It's probably, I maybe got like 1 or 2 videos from that meetup. But it's just me jumping into the circle, trying my best. And you can hear your voice in that video going like, yeah, Patty, get it, Pat. Like just cheering me on, hyping me up. And that meant a lot to me because number one, you're hyping up someone that you just met and you're excited for them. You're addressing me by my name as well. Yeah. Because it meant enough for you that, I told you my name, you had told me yours, that you had even, recalled that. Yeah. And then we're able to, put it into effect, at where it kind of mattered the most. You know what I mean? Yeah. Making me feel comfortable being at that meetup. So I think it's safe to say like you were one of the pivotal people who made me feel very much at home when I first got here from the get-go. Yeah. That meetup could have gone sideways with one bad interaction. Yeah. And it didn't happen. Yeah. If anything, like the good interactions piled onto that. And, that could be where people divert paths. You know what I mean? Just having not good experience. So I thank you for that. Because it's been an amazing ride. Just being a part of the Mile High Shufflers, being a friend to you, and you being a friend to me. I think it's been really, really rewarding on both sides. If I can speak for both of us.
Yes, please, man. Yeah, we're just on the same wavelength when it comes to a lot of things, like on many different levels. With how we want to live our lives, how we process things, like how we want to grow as individuals, as men. So yeah, you and I, like I've always felt like a very familiarity with you on a lot of levels. So, but yeah, like it's very important to me that new people coming to the meetup, like I take ownership of MHS. It wasn't like an OG, but like I was very, very early on, like before COVID. So I really want to make people feel welcomed and feel like they can just be themselves and have fun and not have to prove anything, and then be encouraged no matter if you're looking good or not. So thank you for reflecting that, because it's something that I really try to do at every meetup, is try and meet, new faces. So I'm glad that you felt welcomed and that you felt good. So I appreciate that.
You kill it in that regard, man.
Thank you, man.
I know you are, you do like hospitality, like you're a server and things like that. So I think that serves you well, or the skill set that you have goes very well in those social scenarios where it's like you can very much be inviting and in tune with another person. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm just in tune with like knowing kind of what makes people feel good, like whether it's a meetup or, they're my table at my restaurant, like, thankfully I can just pick up the vibes of just how to like make people feel at ease, but also just like, cool and just relaxed and, just make everyone feel good. So, I appreciate that. I'm a proud, hospitality industry worker, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm just an extrovert, man, and I love people. I love interacting with people, and it's just I'm a huge extrovert. I love people.
It's amazing. I'm taking some chapters out of your book, trust me. Because I'm now stepping into roles as hospitality with like the liaison stuff. And, it's good practice, It's good viewing how other people work their craft. You know what I mean? And their interactions. And like, why did that work? Why did it not? Like, why is this approach better than the other approach?
All in energy.
Things of that nature.
All in energy.
Yeah, people will mirror you. And things like that.
Yeah.
But okay, enough of that. I want to talk about you. And your background. So if you could tell the audience and myself, where are you from? Like, where are you coming from? Also, how long have you been in Colorado? And how long have you been shuffling for?
Yeah, so I'm from Indiana, Midwest, born and raised till I was 21. Moved out here when I was 21. um, Thankfully had a pretty good. I don't know how far back we want to go, but
No, send it.
yeah, thankfully had a great childhood, had a strong friend group growing up, and it's one of the things I think about that's just very important into an upbringing is no matter what's going on, if you've got like really good friends and a good social circle, like it'll really serve you well. I lived like in the city / the country area. My mom's side of the family owns some property like in the country. We own a farm. Got a lot of skills from that. I'd go there on like weekends, summer breaks and such. And, love my fam, like love the openness, the work ethic, because old school farmers like working from sun up to sundown and, they held their children and grandchildren to that standard as well. So, that still serves me to this. I mean, it shaped my character when it comes to work ethic, especially. And, like Southern hospitality. I know it's not Southern, but, very hospitable. And then in the, city aspect, I, went to high school in like the suburbs of Indianapolis, served me well in that regard. Cause I was never like a country like person. So like if I lived there, I don't know if I would, just mesh well with the crowd in its entirety. So
you're talking about city or
the country.
Okay,
like I just I'm not I like country music, but like I'm just not even like when I was a kid, I just wasn't like super like, yeah, let's go ride our dirt bikes and drink beer, it just
there were parts of each culture that rubbed you right and then rubbed you wrong, but like you were
vibing with.
Understood.
So but yeah, like had a strong friendship or friend group in high school that led into college. Went to a small college in Southern Indiana with my best friends, pursuing a horticulture degree, which is the study of plants. And, one day, like, I wanted to be an airline pilot growing up, but experienced my first anxiety attack whenever I missed the deadline to sign up for flight school. And so I had to wait a year, and like that just like I just freaked out. So took a year off, try to find, what I wanted to do again. Found out that, I was just like, I just had a moment one day with my homies, and I was like, what do I like just want to do? Like all expectations aside. And I was like, you know what? Like, why don't we like move to a legal state and like grow weed for a living? Like there's an industry in that, like you can grow, like you can actually make a career out of it. So we were like, okay, what degree can we get like pertaining to, like growing weed, like, and that would be horticulture. It's like, it's geared towards like flowering, like fruiting, vegetables, fruits, plants, landscaping, things like that, all under that umbrella, arboriculture. So, went to college with them, and they had went to so I guess getting into like my introduction to EDM, they had went to Lost Lands, the dubstep festival ran by Excision, and I didn't go because like at that time I was still like, I was like, oh yeah, I like heavy metal and like rock music because I would listen to it when I'd work out, but I just still wasn't involved in it to that degree. But then they came back and they were talking about, how much of a great time they had. And then they showed me this song by Excision that I'm still trying to remember the name. But like they played it on our TV, and the drop came, and I literally felt like bone chills throughout my body. And I was like, yo, this shit is dope. Like this is like I fuck with this, like, so like, I was like, all right, like, let's go. Like, I'm down. Like, let's go to a concert, whatever, you still call it a concert at that time, now we call it shows, but like, so they introduced me to the EDM culture lifestyle. Yeah. Had you already moved to Colorado at that point? Or were you, okay. Yeah. So I'm still in Indiana at this point, in college, 19, 20, 21 or those years. I was still there. And at that time, like, like I had found like the gym, the weights, the weight room, and I got really into working out and, dropped some weight. I was a bigger kid growing up. So at that time, like my like thing was like working out and lifting and, was just falling in love with that. But they introduced me to EDM, and then I went to my first shows like Zomboy and Hero Bust, Foam Wonderland, where they like spray foam at you. Have you ever been to one of those shows?
I've been to a foam run, like a 5K type thing where they're shooting you with foam. You don't want foam on you when you're running and sweaty. I don't know how you felt about the foam at this show. But.
Like I've heard mixed reviews about it, but like it smelled good. It smelled like soap. It smelled like body wash. Like we were all like, yo, they're probably like putting some soap in here to clean our sweaty asses, and like we were in this position, like an awesome position in the crowd where like we got a ton of foam on. Like we literally had to like cover our eyes, and like, dude, like I looked up and like my buddy Austin was like right in front of me, and he was like literally looked like he was like coming out of a bubble bath, and he like was like this. He was like, oh my gosh, like and we were just covered, and it was so much fun. Like I said, like it smelled good, so like. But I've heard people be like, "Oh, this is yeah." But I've heard people be like, "Oh, like this is stinky. Like it smells like chemicals, But like my experience was good, and so like fell in love with
bring back foam raves.
Yeah. The soapy kind of foam,
not the stinky kind.
yeah. So like really got a love for the EDM or for rave culture.
It was you were fostering that love for it while you're still in Indiana. You kind of had homies around that were sharing that passion with you. So it was kind of priming you for the time perhaps spent here. You know what I mean? Where there's more than enough to go around of good times regarding just like the EDM scene. Yeah, whether that be bass or house music, techno. Whatever.
It's all here. It's all here in Denver, yeah.
So when did you go ahead and move to Colorado? What was like that defining moment where you're like, okay, Colorado is where I want to be for X, Y, and Z reason?
Yeah. So mainly it was legal marijuana to get into the industry, to find a job. But it was also like we visited a couple times, went to a couple like cannabis job fairs actually. And just the energy, like the weather, the sunshine, what lures a lot of people in was for me as well. Cause every time I was out there, I just felt like alive. I felt like the air was clean, like just this refreshing kind of vibe. And also I have a bad pollen allergy and there's like no humidity out here. Yeah. So like that was maybe played into like just like I just felt good outside. It was just really a positive pull to Colorado on the times that I visited. I could have gone to Washington. I could have gone, and I think that was part of it too. I was like, out of all the legal states, this was 2019, but like I think Colorado would be like the best place to live. And so I was going to move out there with my buddies, but they were still in school. We kind of graduated at different times. So I moved out here with my best friend at the time, who was just like on his own self-discovery journey as well. And he's like, yeah, I'll go anywhere. He's like, as long as like we're together, like, I'll go anywhere. So I was 21. I was 4 months out of graduating college. Drove out here with my Chevy Malibu, like everything I could cramp in that thing, and came out here in May of 2019. Got a place with my friend at the time. And we're just savoring the experience. And, we kind of had a falling out a couple months into living together. And so I took a, kind of a solo independent, life switch, and did a lot of things on my own. And, I was I'm still breaking out of it, but just a stickler on discipline. Like I just wrote out schedules and like, I'm gonna wake up at this time, work out at this time. Like, I had these projects I was working on. And so I was just very like hyper focused on my career and my fitness. And so But was going to shows, I would go to plenty of shows by myself. Didn't realize.
Were they typically like bass shows?
Yes,
like were you still on the bass
At this time, I did not like house.
Okay.
I did not like, and I didn't even
so
know what
weird
techno
hearing
was.
You say that.
Oh my, yeah, that's like all I listen to now. But it's like I didn't even know what techno was. I heard the word, but you think of that generic like term for EDM music. Oh, that techno stuff. Like I didn't never heard of trance.
Those kids with that techno.
Yeah, that techno. Never heard of trance. Like never. There's really just bass music, dubstep, bass. So. But regardless, still had the time of my life and met some good friends and had a positive experience.
So you're kind of describing like that life before shuffling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what was priming you? You know, if you didn't find bass music, it's probably safe to say that you probably wouldn't have found other genres that might have been more in tune with shuffling and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And then also just that. I wouldn't say it was random. I mean, it sounds like you and your friends were very methodical about choosing a state that you wanted to, be a part of for the, the marijuana industry and things of that nature. Yeah. But it seems like there's like all these like little accidents that happen that were guiding you to a shuffle journey. So.
Never got into the marijuana industry either. Like was never a grower, I worked for an organic produce farm, but then realized I don't want to get into the marijuana industry. Mm-hmm. It's just not for me. I have a love-hate relationship with weed as it is, just trying to, find a balance with it. Mm-hmm. But like all of the twists and turns like led me to, here now, and like Denver's now home. Like this is home, 100%. I'm not leaving anytime soon. I can't, there's no way I could live back in Indiana. It is like my roots, but this is home.
That's really good to hear, man.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I can always like guess that, for a lot of the people who come on, as, like Brent was on, and I've never had the conversation with him. It's him saying like, I'm going to be here for this amount of years.
Yeah.
So I love when the homies like say it on air. Yeah. Like, I'm going to be here for many years to come. It's like, yes. Now, you're accountable to everyone now.
Yeah. Everyone
so
heard
I got
it.
you.
Yeah.
I'll play that back if you ever change your mind. But I want to know what was like the moment, like that ground zero moment where you saw shuffling, or maybe you had seen shuffling before and it didn't hit. Mm-hmm. What was the moment where it did hit and you were just like, wow, that's something that I want to do. I want to be a part of this dance in one regard or another.
Yeah. It was, probably the summer of 2019. So a few months after I moved here. Mm-hmm. I just saw it on Instagram. I can't recall what video it was or like why it popped up on my feed, but I saw shapes and even just the Running Man. And in my mind, I could break it down. I was like, okay, they're not like doing very crazy, intricate things with their body. Like for me, it just like, that looks fun and it looks like I can do it. Like, I know, like, I was like, okay, their feet are moving fast, but it's like, it's just one after another. It felt feasible. So I saw it on Instagram and it was just like, that looks fun. And then even, there was a house or, whatever track playing with it. And when I heard house while I was watching shuffling, it just made me be like, okay, that's kind of dope. Where they can just like bounce to the beat, like they're like every foot, every movement, their shuffle bounce is to the beat. And that's where I like really like, I was like, okay, like that's dope. I might not like
there's
house, but
here.
like,
there's something here.
So I literally, there was like, I think his Instagram's still Dance Jakey. He was like this British shaper that had these tutorials. And I would literally like, so I saw that and was like, let me try that. And so I just went to my gym. They have a little studio. And, at this point, this was before Lost Lands, which I went to in 2019. So this was in the back. But before even that, like, I was just so interested in the dance. So I literally set my phone like just down on the ground and just replayed the Instagram video. And I think I found a couple like breakdowns of like an actual tutorial, but I would just set my phone there and just try and mimic the moves. And, eventually like I got it down. Like I got, the Running Man down, and then like the Charleston. And there, I didn't really T-step at that time. It was just like, shapes, it was Charleston and Running Man. And, my arms were flailing, like, cause you're just so focused on your legs. Like there's no upper body,
you
anything.
Don't know what's going on.
You don't know. Yeah. You just, like, once I could keep the beat, like if my feet weren't like looking good, whatever, like I was still doing the Running Man, and I was landing I was on tempo. So like once that clicked, I was like, oh my God, like I got it down. And I felt really good. And like I said, I'm into fitness. And so the runner's high, cause it's just running in place. Like it's just all cardio. I just felt good. I felt good. I was like, wow, I got a workout in, and, I had a lot of fun. So then I knew like Lost Lands was coming up, and it's a dubstep like focus festival. Like in 2019, from what I recall, there were probably a couple other artists, but like there was literally just Abstract on the lineup. And he's just this heavy bass house artist. And I was like, all right, screw it. Like I'm going to try and get this down. I wanted to get a couple moves down before I went to the festival. And I was like, I'll just shuffle Abstract, and so that was my first kind of inspiration to like really just like get into it more. But it was just with the goal of getting a few moves down, and and I'll be happy. So but that's how it started, just out of a curiosity, scrolling through Instagram, seeing that it was like obtainable. I was like, I think I can do this, and just went for it. And that was initially what happened. And then
that's tight.
Wait,
let me just let me break down
preface that.
So number one, I think it's cool that like you set a goal for yourself, or like you set a milestone. It's like, I want to get good for, even though you're still in the bass music, you started to kind of catch the bug, just from what you uncovered online, and it started to have some kind of allure to you. And then you picked an artist that you felt was, that you vibed with, and it was going to be at that show, and then like that was your reason for those practice sessions and everything like that. What was the time period from when you started practicing up until Lost Lands? Was that a couple months or?
Couple months.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, a couple months. But it was consistent. It was like 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I made sure to do it every week, like whether it was just once, like I just made, like I tried to make it habitual.
And I could see how you kind of grabbed onto it, because it was very much in line and in lockstep with your your regiment going to the gym and everything. You could just hit one of the studios probably and just dance a little bit, whether that be a warm up or after a cool down for your warm or from your workout, things like that. So it's something that you were already doing. So it wasn't necessarily something outside of your routine that was it was pulling you away from something.
It was very
probably
easy.
Incentivized you to do it more.
It was very easy. It fit with my lifestyle, like you said. Yeah.
What was after you had that? Number one, how was that set? And like, did you did you feel like you got down the way that you wanted to get down?
Yeah. I felt like I did it. Like I learned the moves. Like I was dancing there. There was one guy that was like, oh, like look at his feet, and I was oh wow, like I actually got the illusion. But I actually showed up to the set there was only 15 minutes left.
Okay.
The fam, like the festival fam, was getting late because he was on earlier. And so it ended up being, I was like, all right, like me and one other person, we're just gonna go so I can catch him for a little bit. So I caught the last 30 minutes, if that. But it was perfect. Like there was this little platform, those plastic covers they put on the big cords so people don't step on the cords, those big covers. Like we just broke it down on one of those, and there was one other shuffler there, and I had so much fun. I had so much fun for those 30 minutes, and and then after the set, we were taking a break on the grass, and I was just overhearing just dubstep, not even any house or bass house. And I just started shuffling again because it was just so much fun. I was just caught in you call it a flow state. I was just going with the 3 moves that I knew, I was just not caring about how I looked, what was going on, just free. And
I don't think having the foundations like airtight is a prerequisite for having a flow state. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like I even think that some of the people who go and shuffle, like they're picking up their back foot, and it's like they're not really getting their running man. But their vibe, like I've seen people vibing doing that, and they might be in a flow state, just as much as someone who is very veteran in it, and regimented in there, and don't even need to think about their movements anymore. I think it's possible in both, because it seems like you did enter that kind of wavelength at that time, and it was addicting enough that you stood up and you started shuffling the dubstep.
Maybe like, because I feel like flow state can pertain to like creating like a magical sound or a magical sequence of music while you're DJing, or someone who is quote unquote good at shuffling. Like the people that are doing the moves quote unquote wrong, like could just be free in their mind. So maybe it's a different kind of flow state where it's just like, I just don't care. Like I'm just going, versus like creating, like painting a picture like of this, like, Van Gogh, like, but it's rather just, I am completely lost in the present moment in this music. It's probably one and the same, honestly.
Yeah, but I think so. You've surrendered. You've almost like surrendered.
Yeah.
There's no preoccupation of other thoughts or like
exactly. Yeah. What am I doing right now with my feet?
What's the next set? Am I catching?
Yeah. No, for sure.
That's cool, man. What was the next milestone for you once you had that experience? It sounds like you wanted to keep going with it. So, were you looking at the next festival? Is this a kind of a time where you're starting to meet more shufflers? Were you practicing more because you were kind of riding off of the high of that set?
Yeah. I was definitely riding the high because, every festival, like, you level up, like naturally, because you're dancing for 3 days straight, So I felt like I leveled up, felt like I became a better dancer, wanted to keep doing it just because of the energy I felt. And then like I would go on Spotify and just like type in, like I started with Abstract, right? And then I would go see similar artists and, would find maybe Joyride or, forget, there's a couple artists kind of similar to him. But then I found Night Bass, the Night Bass label, and AC Slater. So once I just was diving into, Martin Horger is actually somebody that I really like because he's very heavy. So the transition from like, I like heavy music, it was transitioning into, because I also like hip hop. So when I heard, songs like Night Bass, where it was a little like groovy, like hip hoppy, but with like this still strong bass line, I was like, okay, I like bass. And so now this is like a, still very bassy, but it's got this repetitive beat that I can shuffle to, and actually like feel like I'm like dancing to the beat. So it went into Night Bass and AC Slater, and I still love AC Slater to this day. Like he's one of my favorite artists. And
AC Slater and Chami, like
I can get it. Like might have been 2 years ago now at Mission Ballroom.
Yeah, dude.
That set was so good.
That was amazing.
Man. So Lost Lands was in like September. So I had a good friend with time. Shout out Brandon. Shout out BW. Just did just danced to one of their tracks. Love that kid.
These are homies?
There's a homie. Yeah. Homie Brandon. We worked together. He was very much in the house. And so he showed me a lot of music. He was like, oh yeah, AC Slater is great. Like if you like him, like check this out. And he's like, let's go to Decadence together. So, Lost Lands in September and Decadence is right around the corner. And so I was like, all right, cool, let's go to Decadence. And then that was another like milestone, another goal of mine to improve my skills. So, practice for a couple months, Decadence came around. And this now leads up to when I found out about MHS. I don't know if you want to reflect on.
No.
So Decadence came around.
So I'm sorry, like you're in Denver. You're in Denver at this time, or
yeah. I'm in Denver. I went back home for Lost Lands. Flew out and then came back.
Got it.
Yeah. So, so I'm living in Denver, and
next thing is Decadence. Decadence is on your radar.
Yep. So I'm, this whole time I've got like a couple. People I follow on Instagram that I'm watching tutorials from, and it's mainly shapes.
Mm-hmm. Who were they?
Dance Jakey.
Okay. Yeah.
He might have a different handle now. And then honestly, I would just like go and just search like shuffle tutorial hashtag and just like save a bunch. Okay. I couldn't tell you whose profile it was. Anything that I saw that was like, I want to learn that, like, and I mainly learn choreos and like little tiny things, and just get those choreos down and just try and mesh them all together in my flow. Okay. Break up the combos and stuff like that. So, would still practice a lot in the months preceding, and then went to Decadence, and there's just random guy named Dawson. I miss him. I want him to come around more, but he just came up to me, saw me shuffling, and he was like, yo, have you ever heard of the Mile High Shufflers? And I was like, no, dude. Like, he pulled up the Instagram, and like, I don't know when MHS officially started, but this was December 2019. So
probably fresh.
It was fresh. It was fresh. I think they started maybe the fall or summer before then. Yeah. And it was only a handful of people. Yeah. So still fresh. And then going into the winter, I don't know what was going on, but that was when I first got introduced. And I followed the page, and I was very drawn to it, not only for shuffling, but for the community. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, like I kind of like turned out to be an independent, life that I ended up taking on when I moved out here after my roommate and I kind of had a falling out. So, like I said, I'm an extrovert. So I made friends at work, like, made a friend at the gym, Cameron, which I love dearly, but I still, was trying to find my people. So,
of this interest. And,
it
seemed like it was becoming a larger and larger.
Exactly. I was evolving into, different, genres of music, different, a dancer. Like I never thought of myself as a dancer growing up, so like, I was very drawn to the group. So went to my first meetup in February of 2020. So this was before, the plague. Mm-hmm. And it was at this like downtown like studio. It was a gym / studio, cool location. But all of the OGs were there. I met, Evan, my friend Evan, met Jorge, Emily, Rachel, Sammy, Didi. I met them all. Mm-hmm. And, of course was like seeing these girls dance, and I was like, dang, like, I was like, I didn't know, like, it has been around this long. Cause like, Emily, I forget her last name.
Kim?
Yes, Emily Kim. Sorry, Emily.
Her Instagram handles
yeah. We're gonna butcher that. But
shut up.
She had been shuffling for years, and I'm just like, wow, like I didn't know it'd been around this long. And so I'm just like, so like wowed by their style, and drew a lot of inspiration more than I feel like we were all shy, like all of us, like they didn't have their like like niche group like established or whatever, like we were all still like like hi
everyone was
new
strangers towards one another.
So that was my first meetup. I almost didn't go to it, and that's so crazy because COVID came in March 16th, 15th. I remember the date because that's when like all the restaurants closed. I work in a restaurant. But I almost didn't go to because I worked that day, and I could only be there for like an hour. I think literally an hour, maybe 2 hours. But like, I was like, you know what? It's going to be worth it. Like, so I almost didn't go, which is wild to think about. Like, but I was there for an hour and a half, vibed with everyone, and made good connections. Mm-hmm. And, the memory of the meetup's a little vague, but it was the first meetup, and then the plague happened. I call it the plague, but And then
we get tired of saying the other words.
So. Yeah. Let's mix it up. Which was, I think, a pivotal moment for MHS because now everyone was left with nothing to do.
Yeah.
There are no shows. There's nothing going on. World was
even
scared.
Meetups were like, can we?
Yeah. They were. Yeah. Like, so there wasn't another meetup until maybe, I think it was June.
Yeah.
We all, I don't know if a lot of us were wearing masks. We didn't care. We were, we're all like early 20s.
Yeah, it's outdoors too.
Yeah. We all have our, opinions on that. But, so I don't think there was another meetup till June. I could be wrong though. Yeah. But I think that was my next meetup. And, but even like from the February meetup, the world paused for like a month. But whenever we were like starting to wake up again, like, hey, let's do things, let's socialize. That was the first thing on my mind. I was like looking out, like almost turned on push notifications for MHS. I'm like, when is there going to be another meetup? Like, I want to meet all these people again.
Were you staying in touch with them in the meantime? Just sharing videos, like kind of doing what you could on the Instagram side?
I think so. I think so, but I don't really know. I don't think much at the very least. But I can recall like going to that meetup in June and saying hi to a bunch of people that I met.
Yeah.
I can recall like me making a couple decent connections, enough to last months and be like, hey, like, I saw you at the last one. Like, how are you? Blah, blah, blah.
It was enough of an impression for you. Where you're like, I want to be a part of this in some kind of meaningful way.
Definitely.
With when you guys did meet back up in July, was it kind of like you'd never had that gap, in interaction, or was it still kind of like we're all still kind of strangers here, or still building up?
That seemed more like there was a little more camaraderie. Like, maybe we were all like just happy to be outside and with people again.
You've been going through it for a couple months.
Yeah. That I can recall being, a lot more, close.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was amazing. And then, dude, like, I think I've told you about this before, but like from June to like August, maybe September and October, we had a meetup every single month for like, feels like 6 months. Cause like I said, that was the only thing going on. If we wanted to hear live music, like at least for me and probably a bunch of other people, like MHS was it.
Yeah.
And so we'd look forward to it like weeks in advance. And there were other things popping up. Like with Denver EDM friends. And that's where so I went to a couple meetups and then went to a Denver EDM fam meetup where I met Mario, met
probably Jameson, right? Jameson.
Met Jameson, met Joe, rest in peace, Joe. We got down. Yeah, I think Jameson, he was a big part of that. He might have organized it.
Yeah, I think he was organizing a lot of the initial EDM friends where it meets shuffling type thing, giving like lessons and whatnot. Mario talked a little bit about that on his episode.
Yeah. And that's and like a bunch of MHS showed up to that as well for support. And then after that little meetup, it was Didi, Araya, Jorge, maybe a couple other people that were still wanting to dance. And so I was like, hey, you mind if I join you guys? And they're like, yeah, of course. I've met them all before. And, but that's like, we took a nice walk and I remember like really talking to Didi for the first time and asking her like, what do you do for work? And, like blah, 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 just getting to know her and everyone else.
Dance.
Yeah. And then we like found this dope spot by the river with like a bunch of graffiti in the background. I was like taking videos of everyone. And like, it just felt like, okay, these are my friends.
Yeah.
Like these, like it felt like these are my friends and like, I want to get to know them, like I was just like, I really like these people. And then I think that day Didi added me to the chat. And I was so happy. And like the rest is history. I mean, like I said, those like 4 to 6 months where we had a meetup every month, I think I caught like every one of them. And it was just extra intimate because of COVID, because there wasn't anything else, like EDM related. Oh, there were live streams and stuff. But as far as in person, at least for me, like that was it. And like we said this multiple times, like that's literally what kept our spirits up through COVID, where was MHS and these meetups. Like I would leave feeling so alive, dude, like so fulfilled, so happy. COVID who, you know, like it was magical, man. And it's still so potent, so magical. It is still that way. It really is still that, like
in its own sense, you know what I mean? It's its own where we are now, and then this.
We're all veterans, you know, like like we're all like, and that's the best part about it is just we're all here and committed to each other and committed to this cause, and it's still just as potent, man. It's still just as
fruitful, you know.
It's like
and there's no real end in sight. And I think I don't think Mile High Shufflers is, you know, super special in that regard. I think this happens all over the country as well. When people find their community, you know, they find their people, you know? And they have these same instances, or they started their own thing and people have joined, and then they've created this like tribe with each other. I look at so many other communities. I was just looking at a post from Boss BPM, which is the Boston community, and I saw that they had a meetup at a venue, and the venue failed them and couldn't host them. So one of the homies of the group just threw a rave in his basement, and all of them came through. You know what I mean? And so like this happens. I just want to say that because like I don't think this is an anomaly. You know, I think shuffling has a way of doing this, and it just so happens that like Denver created this, you know, the right people and the right timeline came together and created this kind of like beautiful community. And, but it's also happening in other places as well. I just wanted to, you know, bring that up, but it doesn't make it any less special that it's happening here. And it doesn't make it any less special that's happening over there. You know what I mean? It's
we all live in our own world, in our own, you know, like community, and it's shared across the board. And like, I'm glad you touched on that because like, you know, like whether it's dancing or, you know, like pickleball or, you know, frisbee, like whatever, volleyball, like
an interest.
Like, dude, community is just, I think, vital for people. Like we are meant to socialize, to have relationships, to have people having our back, you know, like, and like for us, it's shuffling, but like, it's just so important to find your people, man. And I say it all the time, like, that is why Denver is home, because like at any point I could hit up 5 homies to either dance or have dinner or go to the gym, or hey, I need a couch moved, like who's got a truck, like someone will, you know, like that's what made it home for me, was finding my community. And it's just so special. And dancing is the way to bring it together.
And in someone in your position where it's like you came here and you thought that maybe you'd have a little bit better footing and some kind of support structure, whether it's just like a buddy that you can confide in, and then that, you know, that kind of fizzled off, and it was probably super important to then find that tribe, because that might have been a divert path type moment it's like, okay, I didn't find anyone and I feel like I'm alone and I feel isolated for these reasons. And,
I definitely felt that.
And then Denver no longer is perceived as home, and then you start to question.
Exactly.
You know, what, you know,
and then people move, and then you move back home.
Yeah.
You move back, and then, you know, a lot of times, like, people regret it.
Yeah.
I know not lots, but, you know, like, it would have been tragic and like, you know, when that falling out happened, like I had moments and days where I was like, do I have to move back home? Should I move back home? You know, like I'm alone out here, you know, like there's a period of time where I was like, what's going on? Like, I don't have my mom here. Like, I don't have like my homies that I can hit. Like when you're really upset and sad, you know, like it felt like there was just this, void, you know, because I'm in this unknown place. But, you know, thankfully I powered through, and now if I need to cry on someone's shoulder, I can hit up 40 people.
Yep. They all got you.
And they will all be like, come here.
Yeah. Yep.
Come here.
They're like, okay, you're done with his shoulder. Come over here. Okay.
Bring it in.
I need some tears on this shoulder.
Yeah. So
it's true, man. It's so true. And I don't think, any of our journeys have been, gumdrops and rainbows and things like that. There's probably been a lot of trials and tribulations throughout your shuffle journey, and just being in Denver in general, especially at the beginning, it sounds like, but probably throughout, through, your time being here, have you gone through anything else that's been particularly hard that you've had to power through and that you've leaned on the community for support?
Oh yeah. I have gone through some very traumatic injuries. Crazy, man. I have been spraining my ankles like since I was a kid, broke my ankle for the first time on my birthday, my freshman year of high school, roller skating. It was so funny. But
don't roller skates they come up your ankle, right?
Yeah, they do, but
not enough.
It did not help.
Got it.
And so I'd always had ankle sprains, and I actually in 2017 tore my ACL in my knee. That recovery went super smooth. Like I still, knock on wood, have no knee problems. But I've had a history of ankle sprains, and then in I think September of 2021, was dancing at Cheese, and then just had a really bad sprain. And at the time I was like, oh, this is fine. Like I sprain my ankles all the time. Like we're good. Like it's kind of that safety net that your brain tries to put you in. Like, oh, this isn't that bad. This isn't that bad. Like we're good. We're good.
Some dirt on it.
Yeah. Like I'll just rest it for a few days and we'll be good. But it didn't get quite well, and I was dancing on a hurt foot like for a long time, and for years. Like it was first it was one foot, then it was the other. So hurt at dancing and took some time off. And when my body's not moving, man, my mind's not either.
Yeah.
And resting from my injuries have been the biggest teacher and the hardest thing I've ever gone through, but also the biggest teacher. And it's been wild. So that ankle got hurt, and it wasn't healing right. So I went and got x-rays. No bones were fine. Got an MRI, tore some ligaments. All right, let me see a doctor. Doctor says I need surgery. Okay, I'm 22, I believe at this time. 21, 22, I think, yeah. So I'm like, I'm young, like, whatever. We'll get the surgery, and power through. So it turns out the day before my surgery, I went snowboarding, and like it might sound like, why are you snowboarding like when you have torn ligaments in your ankle? But it was kind of a situation like with your ACL. Like if you tear your ACL, like you can live the rest of your life without an ACL. Like if you're not like super athletic or like play professional sports, like you don't like need your ACL to just like function. It's kind of the same thing with my ankle. Like I could still snowboard and like like I said, like I did a lot of things like with pain, but like in this case, like it was mild enough where like I still just went ahead and did it. And like I said, this is my like biggest teacher. So the day before my surgery on my left ankle, or it was my right, but potato, they're both fucked. Like
they're both jacked up.
Yeah. I went up for a jump that I had landed before, but it was a big jump and I shouldn't have done it the day before my surgery, and I broke my other ankle. I didn't break the bone, but I tore the same ligament that on the other side. So this was the day before my surgery, and so of course I'm just like on the mountainside, just like, and I know like my boot's nice and tight, but like it hurts so bad. Yeah. It hurts so bad. bad. I was like, this is not mild.
And you had the experience of your other ankle.
Oh yeah. It was like, all right, I'm getting surgery in less than 24 hours on my other ankle. And lo and behold, I didn't even hurt it at all. Like the one that was getting surgery during that crash, I didn't hurt that one at all. It was just the other one. And so, I'm just silent. And my buddy, Jack, that was with me at the time, he was like, dude, are you good? And I was like, nope, not good. But I kept full composure. I was at like an 8 out of 10 pain level. So I got skied down to the, by ski patrol, went to the emergency, medical center, and then first called my mom because she was on a flight out here. And
to be with you for the surgery.
To take care of me during the surgery. Yeah, it worked out. But so I first called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm okay. But she was like, oh no. I'm like, I really hurt my other ankle. And she's like, okay. She's like, are we still gonna get the surgery? I'm like, oh yeah. I need to get this done, because the lessons I learned through this, I was very impatient. I'm and to this day, I've gotten so much better. But I was just very impatient. I would dance through my injuries. I would just be on my ankle. I'm snowboarding the day before my damn surgery. I was very impatient. So I'm like, yeah, let's get the surgery. We're still going to do it. And then I called my doctor, told her the situation. She was like, oh, let's postpone it. I was like, can we not? And she's like, are you sure you're going to be in a wheelchair? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And so I got surgery the next day. And I'm telling you, when I said this was fucked, it was fucked. The newer injury. And I knew that, but I'm just like, let's do it. So, got the surgery, had to stay in a hotel for upwards of 2 weeks. It was between 10 and 14 days. I can't quite remember. And my mom stayed with me for, the first week, because I was bedridden. Fresh surgery and then a fresh, really badly sprained ankle. I was pissing off the side of the bed. I was only getting up to take a shit. It was bad. And I was just, I was on the medication. I had a bunch of edibles. I was getting super high, just trying to avoid it. And I actually had a decent attitude. If you look on my Instagram, I have a picture of me with 2 books in my hand. And
I think I've seen this. And like a Xbox controller or something.
And a PlayStation. I was like, I'm gonna game, and I was studying to be a personal trainer at the time. And I was like, I got plenty of studying to do. I'm reading this awesome new book. I'm gonna play a bunch of games. Just bought 2 new games. I got stacks of edible chocolates. I'm like, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. And so I had I'm proud of the attitude that I had in that situation. But it quickly fizzled out when you're day 7 in bed.
Yep.
You haven't used your legs. It's not like, oh, I'm lipping on one leg. I haven't used both my legs in a week. And then then it comes up on day 10. So the darkness came in, full force.
And that's physiological. They say that your skin and your muscular skeletal system is actually one of your biggest endocrine systems. You know what I mean? Of just regulating your hormones and dopamine, serotonin, all the things that keep your mood regulated. So it's not outside of the norm that you were probably starting to get a little dark, for not moving, not moving your body.
Yeah, I'm questioning everything. What's my body going to be like after this? What's this damn recovery going to be like? My knees started hurting because I wasn't using my lower body. My hips were hurting. I'm snowballing, oh, am I going to have knee problems? Am I going to have hip problems? Anxiety attacks, and I'm just chomping down edibles, trying to push away the pain. And, so my mom leaves after 7 days, and I'm and I'm in a hotel room this whole time because I lived in a basement. So I couldn't walk. So unless it was up to my roommates to literally push me to the shower, feed me food 3 times a day or whatever, I didn't want to put that responsibility on them. So, I was in a handicap accessible hotel room, and eventually the dormant pain subsided. I could lift my legs without lifting my ankle. So it's it's not it hurt. So eventually I could get out of bed. I would wheel over to, everything, the kitchen, the sink, fridge was all chair high. So it was a wheelchair accessible. So anybody could so I was making, my own food and stuff. And so I was taking care of myself, but I still wasn't walking, and I didn't walk for the preceding, I want to say a month or 2. And it was just tragic, man. I mean, you know, and, you know.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah,
That's
cool. Yeah, of course.
With like, when did the like the doom and gloom start to subside? Like it looks like
subside.
Yeah, it sounded like you were in a dark place like until like day 7. Like when did things start to feel like maybe a little bit lighter for you? And then maybe before that, like what was like your peak? What was like your peak of that kind of that learned helplessness? Like,
I'm happy to share that. Yeah.
Because mental health is a freaking thing right now, and injuries is a very specific thing that can bring that up. But there's many other you know, shit that shufflers can go through that can have them go into these places. And just hearing about your experience, I think especially with injuries, I think it would be helpful for like the audience to at least relate and then maybe hear about like how you overcame it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was like that's one of my main goals of being on here today, is to tell people that like you can't, like there's light at the end of the tunnel. You know? So the worst of it was, you know, like probably like the last couple of days in the hotel room. And maybe even probably at that time, because that was like the most amount of time that I've never walked before. Like, you know, 2 weeks without using your legs, like that was probably the peak, where I just didn't know where my life was going to go. Like I was studying to be a personal trainer. You know, I was like, am I gonna have to delay, you know, when I can start my new job? You know, I had lined up things like with my other job to quit, like when I was, you know, done with my surgery, and then you saw my recovery got delayed. So
you're making expectations and they are not being met. Exactly. Resulting in anxiety and other things.
And that wraps around to just my mindset of being like regime schedule oriented. I know what I'm going to do. Just that quote alone defined me for my first half of my 20s. Like, I know what the future is going to be like. I have a plan, you know. Plans are out the fucking window, you know, and everything was not like possible. And so, you know, when it started to subside was, you know, when I could stand in my two boots. I was wearing these crazy looking, like Iron Man looking boots. Actually, the lowest of the low was when I went back to the doctor, and she was like, okay, let's have you try and stand up and walk a bit. And I stood up and a lot of pain was happening. And I took a step and it hurt so bad. She was like, sit back down, sit back down, sit back down. And I was looking forward to that day being like, all right, I'm finally gonna like stand up and walk. And I wasn't ready. And again, like I'm impatient. And I just burst into tears. And I think someone was supposed to pick me up that day or like give me a ride. And I ended up not getting a ride. So I had to like crawl to my car and like drive myself there, which I should not have done. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to be able to walk and I might get my boots off. Or not my boot, but like I might get a new boot so I can drive home. So like, oh, it's all good. Like you don't have to give me a ride, whatever. But then that wasn't the case. And so then I had no one there to like, you know, like I said, cry on a shoulder, you know?
Yeah.
So that was the lowest for sure. When I was at that doctor's office, I completely forgot about that actually.
That's rough.
Yeah. But like, you know, I can't wait to bring it back to today when like now I'm the healthiest I've ever been. But
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Stay with the doom and gloom.
Stay with the doom and gloom.
So getting back on your feet was kind of that pivotal moment for you where it was like, all right, things are starting to get a little bit better. When was that?
A week or two, maybe a week or two after that doctor's office visit. Okay. And I love to cook. So the fact that I could stand in my boots to make a meal was like, it's like the best. And that's where like the lessons started coming through, like, wow, you know, let's really appreciate the fact that I can stand and make my own food right now because I couldn't do that for like 8 weeks. So that was huge when I could just start taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And then when I started rehab, so I like, you know, got my boots off, started to do rehab. The fact that I could walk again, That's when the light started like coming back up. And also very grateful for my fitness level before all of this happened. I had lost a lot of muscle, gained a lot of fat because, stress eating and whatnot. Yeah. But like, I still had muscle memory. I still had muscle on me, I've been working out at this like for 4 years prior. So
that's a thing. Your muscles remember how big they were, before atrophy.
Yes. So that was huge. I remember squatting for the first time. That day I felt like a champion, man. I felt like Superman. Like, I'm like, wow, I can squat again.
Did you get your other ankle fixed at this point, or
no?
Okay.
See,
okay.
It was I had died and was reborn twice.
Yeah.
In 2 years. I had 2 surgeries in 2 years. The first one was that tragic. I broke both my ankles. Then, so the surgical side healed very well. It is still to this day strong.
From that initial one,
the initial one. The one that I hurt snowboarding, she was like, I had a lot of swelling. She didn't want to touch it, because it was so fresh. She wanted to see if it can heal
on that. They're not going to be like, okay, you broke both ankles. Like, let's come on down.
She needed more info. Like, we can't just do immediate surgery on something she don't know about. So, she was like, I want to let that heal. And so a year goes by, and but let me remind you, I don't know what's going on with the severely sprained side. My surgical side was strong. I know this was repaired. I have a new strong post ligament, whatever but this side was questionable. I was like, I don't know if I should have gotten surgery. Yeah. How is this going to heal? So for a whole year, I was literally like, I don't know what's going on with this side. Like, I'm scared, and guess what? I still had pain. Surgical side, fully recovered. Left side, still had pain. All the videos, like a promo video for Global Dance. As this dope video where I had this like mask on.
The black mask.
And I switched it out.
We'll throw that in the show notes.
Very proud of that. But I was hurting, my dude. Hurting. And I knew, I was like, something ain't right.
Yeah.
So a whole year goes by. This is June. So this happened end of January. So in less than 6 months, maybe it was right at 6 months, but still having 2 broken feet, not walking, like not learning how to walk, but like getting my legs used to walking again, to then 6 months later, like dancing at a festival. I'm so proud of to this day. However, like I said, I'm impatient. I ignore pain. I dance through pain. Something was still not right. So fast forward, it's getting worse. Like this side that I didn't get surgery on. But then the trauma, the thought of like, oh no, I can't go under the knife again, dude. And that's where like the first time I had 2 broken ankles, but the second time I only had 1. Well, you think, oh, this is going to be easier. And it was, but like the trauma of my first injury was hell. Like the looming. And then, so leading up to that, I'm like, all right, we're getting another MRI. It's just like, it's so much worse than the first time, because the first time you think, oh, like we're getting fixed. We're good. We're going to be good to go. But then next time you're like, all right, here we are again.
Everything else that it entails.
Yeah.
Like the after, the recovery, the PT,
the atrophy. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And I worked so hard to get back to I was a personal trainer. Like I got my certification. I was personal training. I got back to great shape. My cardio was like, I worked so hard to get back physically. Not just my ankles too, everything else, and then, I get an MRI and my doctor's like, your ligament is fucked. Yep. We need to do another surgery. And so that was 2022. So, my first one was in January. Then the next year it was in March. So it was, around the same time. And so at this point, man, what is shuffling? What the hell is?
It's not even
on my mind, man.
Yeah.
It is in a very deep way. But it hurts so bad to see people shuffle, to see what was going on in MHS. And I know I still had all the love and support, but when you're in that dark place, like you don't understand, like you don't understand that like people aren't seeing you in that way, or maybe some people are, but like just in like, oh, I feel bad for him, and it's like I didn't want anyone to pity me.
Yeah.
And so it was hard receiving support. I don't know, were you there, the meetup that I came in my wheelchair with the two at the, I forget the location.
That it was at like Belmar Park. Like
I think it was somewhere else, but
it had like a red floor. Or something like that.
It was a cool spot.
So I didn't get here yet. So that was your first time, like when you had gotten the surgery of the one ankle and you were still hurting from the other one, right?
So that was actually after my first round of surgery. That was actually after when I broke both my feet. Yeah.
They did a live stream and I wasn't here yet when that happened, but I was watching.
You saw it.
Yeah.
And I was in the circle. They were spinning me around in the wheelchair.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. That, like, thank goodness, was a moment where I didn't feel ashamed of my injuries. And it sucks to say that because you don't want to feel, this is not my, the snowboard thing. But regardless, like, I didn't put this on myself, you know? So that was a moment where I was like putting those feelings aside and like really felt the love from the group. And but yeah, that's just crazy to think about, me being in that state. And so yeah, this last surgery last year now, time goes by so fast, man. But yeah, that was, and I was getting over, I was going through a breakup, and, so I was left in my bed, like with all of the injury thoughts and trauma, but also like getting over, a relationship. Yeah. And that was just a double whammy of fuckery. Like that, it hurt, man. Like, man.
And it's not like you could go and like the typical things that you might do to like mitigate those feelings or to put you in a paradigm shift where like working out feels great afterwards. Yeah. You have that rush of
those are my releases.
Yeah, those like, regulatory hormones that typically come out. Yeah. And so things that you were thinking about prior to working out aren't that big of a deal, after that, but like not even being able to have avenues
my
like
outlets.
that. Yeah. That's hard.
Yeah. But I found the light, man, out of that experience, because I realized that, all these feelings of shame that I had for just being hurt, like, why am I feeling ashamed? Well, it's because I identified a lot of my value in the physical things that I did.
Yeah.
My family like knows me as like, oh wow, you lost a bunch of weight now. You're in such good shape. Like
personal
you're in
trainer.
Yeah. Like you're a dancer. Like we never like, wow. Like, and then like
your value is equal to what you can do
with my body.
Yeah.
But there's a hell of a lot more to me, man. And I realized that when, I was getting better from my second injury. Like I said, like I was starting to do rehab. So, when you get out of the worst, stages of it, and like there is truth to like, yeah, at least this time I didn't hurt both my ankles. Like I could walk around, like I could, crutch around my apartment, and, my mom came out again. Shout out to mom. Like she came out 2 years in a row to help take care of me. I don't know what I would have done without her.
That's a good mom. Yeah, she deserves a shout out. Thank you, Mom.
Yes, love you so much. I'm sure she's watching. So yeah, it was like one day where, I might have still been in the boot. I might have still been limping around. But it was a day where it probably was when I was like starting PT, but I was like, wait a sec. I was like, I broke both my ankles, came back and danced, and came back and worked out, became a personal trainer, like was changing people's lives. Like, and then here we are again. I broke my shit again, but like, I'm excited for physical therapy. I'm determined to get better. Like I'm accepting of all of the pain and all of the emotions. But what I realized is I don't quit, man. Mm-hmm. Like you will never hear me say like, oh yeah, I broke both my ankles. Like, I don't really dance anymore, you know? Like, yeah, I just got bad ankles. Nah, fam. Like, yeah, I got bad ankles, but like, you can do a lot to recover, man. Like, if you do PT by the book, like it's your job, like you will get back to a state where you can be pain-free. I mean, you do surgery for a reason. You know, it's not like you get surgery and then you're fucked. Like you get surgery to fix something. Yeah. And yeah, like your body could reject it or whatever. Like there's special cases, but like if you do the right physical therapy and for way longer than you think you need to, for me, it's a lifestyle change, like working out. Like I do rehab, like that is a part of my working out. But back to the point, like I don't quit, man. And then I was like, okay, that's where my value can lie, you know, like that, or rather than a physical thing, a mental thing. How do I live my life? Well, I live my life not giving up, like, you know, like whether it's a career that didn't work out or my body just breaking, like I won't sit down for too long. That's the key. Like you can be like, if anybody out there is injured or is going through an injury, like you have every right to feel defeated, to feel done, to feel like I'm never going to be the same. Like those are just natural feelings that you're going to feel like when you're in the worst of the worst.
Because uncertainty, you're surrounded by uncertainty.
100%. But your body's amazing. Mm-hmm. Like if you assist it in being amazing, like eating the right foods, doing the right rehab, like you hear those stories all the time, like people like getting a pole, like stabbed through their whatever, like, and recovering, you know? So like our bodies are amazing and they will recover. And you have to put in the work and you have to want it enough. And, you know, for me, it was just like, I was like, all right, like people don't like me because I'm a good dancer. They like me for my character, you know? And it was beyond just like, I'm a fighter. I don't give up. It's like, I started getting in, like, I was like, okay, what else like about myself is cool, you know, or like, why, you know, like, or I maybe ask a friend like, hey dude, like, what do you like, why am I your best friend? You know, like it had nothing to do with I work out or I shuffle, you know, it had everything to do with who I was as a person. And that was the aha moment, the biggest lesson I got out of these injuries, you know? And like, you know, I now like, I dance pain-free, man. Like the surgery worked. Thank you, Dr. Jovic. The surgery worked.
Shout out, Dr. Jovic.
Shout out, Dr. Jovic. I'm going to send you this podcast personally. Like she was an amazing supporter.
We'll get her a shirt too.
Yeah. So the surgeries worked. I got 2 scars on my feet, but like, man, I am snowboarding like a maniac. I am dancing my ass off. Very recently, I'm like now getting back into practice. So that whole rant on injury, like not even talking about shop, like now as a dancer, I feel I'm 25 and I just feel like a student again. Yeah. And not only that, I've been wanting that feeling for a while, but my body has not allowed me, you know, and me too. Like I said, with the impatience, but like now shuffling, dancing, I'm doing other forms of dance, you know. I went to a whacking class. You know, I've been to went to a shuffle class that honestly.
What's whacking again? I'm not sure.
I'm still bad at it. I need practice.
No, that looked good.
Yeah. And you know, popping and locking. I was showing you the body wave that I was trying to get down earlier. Like, I feel back in my body, back in my spirit. I don't feel limited anymore. I bought new shoes like that support. Well, actually, you know, I've been buying high top shoes that support my ankles.
Those are fire. Do you have them on?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Hold them up to the camera. Just like Those are
Air Force.
Those are sick. They have the ankle support because
Air Force Ones. Yeah. And that's the
I broke my ankle and I wear ankle bracelets.
Yeah, you wear two. So you wear two.
We bonded over those.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, the ankle support. Oh,
yeah, man, my shit was fucked. You'll have to try these on.
I still have it. That's right.
No, yeah. So yeah, like when it comes to shuffling and dancing, like I now feel like, connected with it again. And
that there's no like barriers that are looming or
yes, before, like when I recovered the first time, my ankle still hurt.
Yeah.
And it drove me fucking crazy. And like, I wanted to get back to dancing and this and that. So for a year, I was just like not leveling up. And, that's not what's necessarily important, but like I wanted to be a better dancer. I wanted to learn more moves, more ways to express myself. So I wasn't able to do that for 2 years almost, and man, like I lost touch with it. And so the message I want to leave is like, time can move slow, but it can move fast, because thinking about all of that, like it seems like it was yesterday, but it also was like, wow, like now I'm back, and shout out to Jorge, man. Like I don't know how he's feeling, but like you will get back to how you were and even stronger. Like just be diligent, do the right things for your body, take care of yourself. And that goes for anyone. Like no matter what you're experiencing, like your body is amazing and it can recover, and just make it your job.
If you help it to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you take the responsibility to make it your job, because we have nothing without our bodies, man, in my opinion, like to do the things we want.
It's totally true. And just, for the listeners, our friend Jorge, who is a shuffle fanatic, like, and is killer, at the craft.
Amazing.
And with the
beautiful.
Train, is going through something similar that, that you've described, with his knee.
The ACL injury.
Yeah. And I'll be talking to him soon, about that. And I'd love to kind of get his thoughts on like how it's been and
how it's been. Yeah.
And, But yeah, like there's many cases where people might be having their injuries at the moment, or they might listen to this and be like, doesn't apply until they hurt themselves.
And then
they're like, okay, got it. Like now I know now I know what I need to prepare for, and like I need to be patient, and all that stuff. And I really like the message that you've conveyed of not identifying with the dance too strongly, because this is a shuffle podcast, like we're all shuffle enthusiasts here. We talk about the community and like being a part of it, and like a little bit of that glue is the dance itself, of course, because that's how we connect with one another in one modality. But there's other ways to connect with other people as well, through the music, through the connections that you actually make with them. Like you had talked about that you found your value of who you are as a person because of like the character that you've held throughout out all this. And we can relate to someone else's character in a big way too. It's not just like, oh wow, you do that shuffle move, or you string together shuffling concepts well together. Therefore, like I'm going to like you, that is, it's unconditional. It's like, if you're a terrible person, like all that goes out the window. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care like what your competency level is with the dance. You know what I mean? 100%. So it's like putting your value into the things that actually do matter at the end of the day. And it's like, if we all break our ankles, or, I was gonna say something else. If you break your neck, you know what I mean? You're down for the count, and you can never dance ever again. Like there will be people who, if you have good character and you're still an enthusiast about all the things around shuffling, maybe just like commentating on it or whatever.
Becoming a DJ
or like attending all the events and things like that. Like you can still connect with people and like be a part of this, but your value is not derived fully from what you can do on the dance floor.
Exactly.
And like that's your journey, like the way that you described it, and then like the kind of like that end when you were coming to terms with your second surgery, things like that. And it was like that aha moment of, you know, I've felt so down in the dumps because I've felt like I didn't have the worth, you know, that warranted, you know, friendship or respect or confidence or whatever else. And then just having it be like, no, I deserved that all along the way. You know what I mean? Despite this injury, I deserved that all around the way. I just needed to get over it in my own head. But I think it's just very, very powerful. You know?
Thank you. Yeah. It just takes time, you know, like whenever you can like get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm walking, like every week that goes by where you get a little better, like can be leveraged to inspire this comeback, you know? And your body will heal. Your body will heal. I promise you, your body will heal. Just breathe and allow time to run its course.
Yeah, trust the process.
Trust the process. I mean?
Yeah. And that's also another good piece of advice that you gave. It's like doing physical therapy long after the doctor said, like, you're good. You know? Do it all the time. Yeah. I'm horrible at that, and I need to do it more. But this is a good reminder. Yeah. A reminder for that. Yeah. As well.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing like that. Those are vulnerable stories, you know, just going through that twice.
Yeah.
You know, hell, you probably had like a little bit of like PTSD over it. Oh, you know what I mean? Just like the anxiety that you shared going into the second surgery.
Yeah.
Like that, it almost seems like you wanted to like disassociate from that. Like,
yeah.
I know that was probably rough. So I commend you. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Not just with me, but obviously the audience that we have.
I'm happy.
With this as well.
Happy to do that.
But if it is okay with you, I want to get to know you a little bit more with our world famous Final Five.
Nice. All right. Sick.
So, you know, these are 5 questions that I ask every guest, and then we get to learn a little bit more about them.
Yeah.
You know, I think our audience has learned a lot about you from the experiences that you've already, you know, shared. But, you know, maybe we can just like put some icing on the cake and, you know, have them dig into your brain a little bit more. But so the first question that I have is, what is your favorite musical genre?
Definitely house. And its subgenres.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably bass house would be your favorite? Or are you leaning into...
I mean, like, I like bass house, but not like... I have a subgenre I created called like dub house, like where it's like dubstep in house, like artists like Abstract or, you know, Martin Horger, like... I'm leaning away from that super heavy bass line, but like anything with like a hip hop influence, lyrics. I love tech bass house remixes of like popular like pop songs.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely house, but catch me in 6 months, a year, 2 years, like might be techno because I'm loving what I'm hearing with techno. But
I love that.
I'm happy about that as well, branching into other genres, but like house I love so much.
Let's just unpack that really quick. What has gotten you into techno a little bit more? Because like this is new to me, you know. I'd say the last month or so I've gotten like inklings of like you being curious about it and like talking a little bit more about it. You know, I dropped before we before we got on air, like we were just talking about the show that we'll be playing. You'll be opening for a MHS takeover. I'm not sure when this episode will air. It might have already happened, you know, at this point. But you'll be playing your first set. And then I'll be playing sometime later in the night. But we were just talking about, you know, what we're gonna do for our sets and whatnot. And I dropped a techno artist that I really like, No Name Left, and you're like, oh yeah, I really mess with that song. Okay, all right, so he's actually doing it. He's not just saying that he likes techno to appease me. So, how have you caught the bug? Like, what's like ground zero? For
just decided to go to, half our group goes to, techno trance shows, of course. And so I was like, I'll go to this one. It was Paul Van Dyke at the church. And that dude, like, made me understand. I understand. And I think, so I've heard he does like a techno and trance kind of mix type of thing.
Tech trance.
But I understood. I was literally sitting on, the benches at the back of church, and like I just closed my eyes, and like I was like, oh, I get the progression, like the layers that were added on, how it kind of like there is a consistent beat, and I actually could be like a little skewed in just like how the genre works, but like whether it's right or not, like I understood the feeling and like understood how to dance to it and kind of the mood, right? And I was like, okay, like I get it, like I understand, and actually haven't like shuffled all night, especially with the fam, to techno. It's been at like meetups where it's splashed in, and then I'm like, kind of vibing out. It's not my thing, blah, blah, blah. But like when I force myself to dance to, at that night, like I was slowly enjoying the playfulness that I could do with the consistent beat. So yeah, I kind of found a new like side to my flow. And then, like I said, just hearing it, I just kind of understood what was happening, and why. Because people are like, oh, I don't like house techno, whatever, because it's the same beats, repetitive. Well, it's not. Like when you dive deeper into it, or in the deeper layers, those aren't repetitive, So yeah, it was that show, and I like really understood. I feel like why, like the genre, why it is what it is, and what the allure is.
Got it. And you gained an understanding for yourself, and it made sense for you.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm dancing to this, and like I like the feeling I have, this flow,
Got it. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Paul Van Dyke.
Yeah.
I wasn't at that show. I think Miggs was at that show.
I met him for the first time.
Yeah. He was, it was the night before, it was the night after that he came in and did his episode. So.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Miggs. But, okay, next question. So, what is your favorite place to dance?
Well, honestly, like at a show, at a festival, besides Cheeseman, like, come on. I feel like everyone is.
We're about to be there in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Here we go again.
Right,
next guest saying.
We're still down, right?
I don't know. No, of course we're still down.
Okay. You brought your decks, right?
Okay. We are ready to throw down.
Speakers are charged. Let's get the spread. But keep going.
Like Cheeseman's such a special place, but like, I love when the music is all consuming, so like,
feel it like in your chest.
Everywhere. Feel my balls, man. I've said that a couple times where I'm like, yo, I'm feeling this all sorts of places. But I really like dancing at Global. The concrete, the asphalt, there's one stage, I forget what it's called, where like, it was kind of like bumpy asphalt, but it was like slick. It was like, it was AC Slater's set actually.
Okay.
And just like, I can recall some dope experiences at Global and that sort of pavement that they have there. But really just at a show, man, like any place where I have plenty of space, but just where the music is all encompassing in my body.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I can relate. I love it when I feel it in my chest. It almost makes me have to like cough because it's vibrating my chest.
I love
that shit. Next question for you. Speaking of Global, I don't know if this is it, but what is your favorite set, show, or festival?
So my favorite set, dude, I feel like it's a combination. So my favorite festival, I've only been to a couple, like, and they're like Decadence, Global, which are here in Colorado, and Lost Lands. Definitely more festivals coming up in the future. But the meetup we had at Lane 8 for Global at I think it was last year, where we had the big MHS flag. Were you there for that?
I was not.
Gotcha.
I was out of the country.
Here in Columbia.
I missed you guys.
Yeah. We miss you too. Dude, we had probably the biggest shuffle circle I've ever seen. And it was an MHS meetup at Lane 8. Mm-hmm. And I remember Mario like running around with the flag, just like waving the flag, like we're going into battle.
Marking our territory.
Yeah. Sort of just going around the whole circle, and people kind of backed up a little more, but like, and I don't know if it was like immediately after he did that, but like then like we had our like kind of signature moment where everyone shuffles at once. Mm-hmm. Like I've never seen so many people shuffling at once like then that set. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is absolutely insane. All the legs moving, oh man. So that honestly is probably like my favorite set. But like Toki Monster at High Grounds, remember that? That was like me, you, and Kaya.
Yeah.
Oh my! I was telling you that night. I was like, it was such a small, like, I don't know if you call it a festival, just an outdoor event. Like
I was about it. We got him for free. Like
we did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did. We got him for free, and they didn't have any freaking water.
Yeah, the water situation was
God,
whack.
That's
why we got him for free.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But that set, like, I did not expect it, like, and people were saying like, oh, she might play a little house and a little something else. Because that festival was like all sorts of things, but she played honestly almost the whole time. It was like bass house, tech house, like my favorite genres, and I felt a level up there for sure. And this was after my second surgery, so like my body was feeling good, and I wasn't having any pain, and I felt a big level up. I
remember that. That was like one of the first times in a while where we grouped together. We might have caught that like EDM Friends shuffle meetup. Remember, it was like at Belmar Park behind like the barn. We had to be moved. We have a couple video, like that was like one instance, and then the other one was like High Grounds where we were actually grooving. I was like, this is awesome. I'm seeing Trent here, like moving and shuffling now. I think like Yogi was there. And, a couple other homies.
So those two were insane.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Any others? Any other notables?
I mean, like at the time, Lost Lands was it was like it was like my only like camping festival. And even afterwards, for months, I would say like that's the most fun I've ever had in my life. But now I would say it's the most fun I've ever had in my life because of MHS and me shuffling now. So
at that time it was.
At that time it was. Yeah. Now, it's not the case, but.
Got it. Yeah, it counts.
Like at the time it was. I was at.
That was the start of your shuffle journey too. Like,
it was. It was.
Yeah, that is probably one that you can really reminisce about, and it might just very well be your favorite because of that. What you owe that festival.
Totally.
For getting you. You know what I mean? Awesome. Next question. What is your favorite book?
I might have a new favorite book that my friend Jenna recommended to me called Becoming. I was going to say The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That was kind of like the same thing with what we just said. Like it was my favorite book at the time. And it helped me like
that is a good
tremendously.
One.
Have you read it?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Stephen Covey.
Yep. Stephen Covey. Oh my God. I mean, it's still honestly could be my favorite book because even to this day, I would still relate so heavily to it. But this book, Becoming, is like just the most well-rounded spiritual / physical / mental awakening that has been proposed to me. And it's a fantastic book to change your life. Like that thing that can really change your life. It's Becoming with a Q. Instead of a C. But in short, it is the most well-rounded approach to like not even be happy, because it's not about chasing happiness. It's about living with what is in your life, and finding peace in the chaos. So that's been huge. I'm still reading it.
Got it. Yeah. Not finished yet, but
not finished. But like, oh my gosh,
it's had enough of an impact.
Yeah, it really has. It really, really has.
Awesome, man. Awesome. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yes, please.
All right. Final question for you. Put any message on the main stage production, large festival, we're talking EDC Las Vegas, Tomorrowland, what would that message say? That tens of thousands of people will be viewing it.
Yeah, it's actually from Becoming, the book. You have everywhere to go and nowhere to be. And what it means is you don't have a deadline. You don't have an age where by this time I got to be here. But you also owe it to yourself to explore everywhere you want to go. But there's no finish line, because there's not going to be a point in your life where everything's kosher all the time. And like I was saying, it's about living and finding peace in the ups and downs. And when you're down, knowing that you'll come out of it. And when you're up, knowing that this won't last forever. Mm-hmm. So again, it's not about finding the place to be, but you have everywhere to go. You have everything that you want to do is on the table. You can do it. But don't put the pressure on yourself to get to it by a certain deadline, or else you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. Everywhere to go, but nowhere to be. Mm-hmm. Just live your life.
That also ties in like the patience, the patience aspect of it that you've kind of, imparted on us throughout the interview. Mm-hmm. Patience is absolutely a virtue, and sometimes it's hard for us, especially like the go-getters, like the type A's, like, those certain personality types, mm-hmm. but they're the ones who probably need it the most.
Totally. Yeah.
So no, very cool, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed our time together, dude. Thank you again for the patience before the interview as well.
Hey, you'll be living it right now.
Like great job. I hope I did a great job with it.
You did.
Thank you. But no, it's been a lot of fun, and we are going to continue to have fun spinning some music at Cheeseman Park. So we're going to
Some of the boots and cats.
Boots and cats, but maybe we'll get rid of the cats, and just get like a nice techno kick going.
Yeah, I'm down, baby.
I want to introduce you to some other music.
Yeah, as well. yes, here for that.
But before we get out of here, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience, or do you think we've covered everything?
Yeah, we've covered everything. I'm really passionate about the people out there that are going through injuries. And because I know how suffocating it can be, but just know that, patience and time and diligence, you will come out of this. Mm-hmm. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and your body is amazing. It will heal, and you will prosper in every way you want to. It might not seem like it now, but you will.
Awesome, man. Well, there's probably a lot of people out there that this conversation has, it's resonated with them. Maybe they would feel inclined to like reach out to you if in the case like they are going through an injury, or they're just going through a rough period of time, and your story inspires them, or they just want more answers, and maybe it wasn't elaborated on like the nuts and bolts of how you got through everything.
I'm happy to give my counsel.
Awesome. How can people connect with you, reach out to you?
Through my Instagram, for sure. I'm not really active on a ton of other platforms, but through my Instagram. I'm sure you'll plug that. Should I?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've got it. Team McShuffles. Right?
TMC Shuffles.
TMC Shuffles.
Yep.
I like McShuffles better.
Team McShuffles. Either way. Yeah, we definitely gotta wrap this up.
I will. I'll link all that into the show notes. But dude, like I said, an honor to have you on the show. You are very much one of my homies. Someone I confide in a very deep way. And I am absolutely enthralled about what the future holds for our relationship.
Absolutely.
And how this is just going to build on itself. So thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for coming on the show. I love you, brother. Let's get the Cheeseman.
Let's go. Love you too, man.
Thank you for listening to the Shuffle Curious podcast.
I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. We are past the launch, and I'm so appreciative of the support that the show has received. You guys have really stepped up in a huge way, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I know this is a big ask due to the show just starting, and it's very much in its infancy, but any and all support would really be amazing from you guys. So I just wanted to come on and list a couple ways that you guys can help out the podcast moving forward. So first and foremost, subscribing to the YouTube channel would be a huge help. Also sharing and following the show on other social media platforms, such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but in particular, YouTube will really help increase the visibility of the show, and it can help to reach a wider audience as well. In addition to this, leaving a review on anywhere where podcasts are distributed, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, can really leave a positive impression on new listeners, and it will help them discover the podcast more readily. Also, engaging with the podcast, so leaving comments, participating in social media discussions, and just anything that would really help build a community around the podcast would be of great assistance. And please feel free, DM me my personal Instagram at Patty Creates, or the show's Instagram at the Shuffle Curious Podcast, with the spaces being underscores. I would love to hear any feedback, any ideas, any discourse around the show. It would be an honor to hear you guys out and implement some of the ideas and the feedback that you guys have for me. Also, donating to the podcast directly or purchasing a Shuffle Curious shirt would help out a lot. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of energy, and unfortunately money that goes into the podcast, and it will continue to go into the podcast. So let's just get one thing straight here. It's really been a complete joy doing the show, and no matter how much or how little monetary assistance the show receives, we'll still be performing the mission of bringing the Shuffle community together. But with a little bit of help, I'll be able to travel more for these interviews, buy better equipment, be able to compensate all the amazing people who have made the show a reality and have volunteered their time, things of that nature. So buying a shirt would be much more than buying a shirt. And I don't know if you guys realize, but if I ever saw someone at a festival wearing a Shuffle Curious podcast shirt, you would be my best friend in a huge way. I'd love to see it, and I'd give you a big bear hug. So you can purchase these shirts on the Instagram bio of the show, also the show's website, and then I'll have links in the show notes as well. As for the donation, just please send me a DM if you feel inclined to donate to the show. I will definitely entertain that, and if you're so inclined, that would be absolutely amazing. I'm not going to create a button for donating to the show or GoFundMe or anything like that. It would just be a conversation between you and I. So, and I thank you for that consideration. But lastly, you guys have supported the show just by listening. Also listening to this whole outro, that's awesome. You guys rule for doing that. And I just cannot understate my appreciation for all of you guys, for being a part of this crazy ride that it's been so far. So without further ado, I wanted to get on, give you guys a couple of ways that you can support. You can run with as many or as little of them as you would like, but I thank you, regardless for your listenership and support. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. Please get out there and dance, stay curious, and I will see you in the next episode, friend.